The second day began with a silent fight between us. Commander just stood there, staring at the canyon. His body was tense with that stubborn hope. He always has the kind that never quits. I could tell he was already planning a way to cross what looked impossible. That's why he's a legend. But I kept my head down, focused on my screen, on the facts: oxygen, power, and food. We were losing all three fast. It felt like I was the only one who saw the danger, the only one who could hear our time running out. He pulled up the terrain maps and started looking for a path through the canyons. He wanted us to walk 80 kilometers. It was insane. A suicide mission. Meanwhile, my own screen was a sea of red warnings. Not enough power. Air supply ends in 7.3 days. I wanted to scream, to show him the numbers that proved we were as good as dead. But I didn't. What was the point? The silence between us felt heavy, like a physical thing. We were both just waiting for one of us to break. And then, something else did. First, it was just a minor alert. A warning about the air pressure outside. We'd had them before and always thought they were glitches, so we ignored it. And then, a piercing shriek screamed in my helmet. This wasn't a simple warning beep. It was a full-blown panic alarm from the lander's weather system. In that instant, our silent argument was over. A new, much bigger fight had just begun. The lander's computer voice came on, and it had no emotion at all. Just cold, terrifying facts. Warning: catastrophic weather event detected. Wind speed exceeding safety limits. Estimated impact in 9 minutes. We had 9 minutes to find shelter, in a place with nowhere to hide. "Suit up," he yelled. My training kicked in immediately. My first thought was the official procedure. Protect the outside solar panels. Tie down the ship. I started to argue. The procedure says we should. He cut me off. Procedure doesn't matter in a storm that can rip the metal off this ship. The lander is a death trap. We need to get to the cave. Now. He was right. And that's what scared me most. We ran, but it was a clumsy, desperate scramble in our bulky suits. I grabbed my science equipment, the scanner and data drives. He grabbed our survival gear, power packs and med kit. As the light began to fade, the whole sky shifted to a dark, bruised red. The first blast of wind hit us like a wall, almost knocking me over. Then the air itself turned red. The dust was so thick it felt like you could taste it, grinding against your teeth from right outside the helmet. We lost sight of the cave. We were just running blind. We dove through the opening, just as the world outside disappeared, in a roaring red storm. Suddenly, the sound of the hurricane was muffled and distant, like a monster roaring behind a thick door. For a moment, we just lay on the rocky floor, catching our breath. The only sound was our own ragged breathing inside our helmets, as we checked our suits to make sure they were sealed. Safe. For now. We needed to see where we were, so we switched on our helmet lights. The beams cut through a darkness that felt truly ancient. The air was cold and perfectly still. No wind, only echoes. Cave felt like a cathedral, huge and silent. To feel safer, we started walking deeper inside, away from the roaring entrance. As we moved, my light swept across something that shone back at me. It didn't reflect the light like rock. It seemed to pull the light in, giving off a deep, blue-green gleam. As we walked closer, our lights revealed a solid wall of ice. It was a glacier trapped under a mountain of rock, a massive supply of frozen water, the very key to life on Mars. In that moment, all the science and data didn't matter. I only had one thought. He was right. The damn man was right. It was a real, actual miracle. For the first time, felt like we had won something together. But my eyes were drawn to something else. Not the ice itself, but what I could see through it. In the clearest parts, where the ice was like ancient glass, there was something on the rock wall behind. Lines. Then I realized they were carvings. My scientific mind tried to explain it away. Just natural cracks in the rock, I told myself. But they were too perfect, too clean-cut. I needed a better look. "Commander," I said, "move your light here." With both of our lights shining on it, there was no denying the truth. These weren't natural cracks or geological faults. They were designed. We could see the perfect angles, the repeating symbols arranged in neat rows, and the hope I'd felt, that beautiful, stupid hope, curdled into pure, ice-cold dread. These weren't natural. They were made by someone. And that meant we weren't the first ones here. We survived the storm, only to discover a secret that was 1,000 times more terrifying. Our situation had changed. We weren't just stranded anymore. We were trespassing. If you want to see the next video, just make sure to like and subscribe. The next part will come out once this video hits 100 likes. Thanks for watching.